Hello and welcome to another episode of DC Alliance, Chapter 143. With me at this week is Joe. Joe, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing pretty good, Travis. This week starts my not working a full week at work for the rest of the year, which is nice.
Ooh, that's nice.
For the last couple of years, Emily and we schedule off Wednesdays, mainly in December, and it just gives her time to do all the baking that she does, get the presents wrapped that she does for Christmas. I joined her the year after, and then I've kind of moved it into November, and so we get like this year we get election day off, which is tomorrow or
That's
today if
pretty
you listen to
awesome that they
this
give that they
on.
give that to you.
That's a union thing, like
Yeah.
the
Oh yeah.
if the company, if GM would say otherwise, they wouldn't do it. But then we get Veterans Day off, and then we have Thanksgiving off. Thanksgiving in the day, American Thanksgiving, and
Yeah.
the Black Friday off. And so I've got like the Wednesday between there off, and then all the Wednesdays in December. So yeah, like I don't work a full week from now until the beginning of next year, which is pretty nice.
Nice. It's like the November and December of Joe.
I love it. I love it.
That's
But
pretty
then
awesome.
again, but my problem is that I will like schedule things for those days. So I may not be working at work, but I'm home working for a podcast or doing something else.
Got a feeling there might be some rundown reviews banked during that time.
Good
that
possibility.
Yeah. Good
Maybe
possibility.
who knows? Maybe there'll be some DC films through the years through there. Who
Do
knows?
it back to back. I think maybe we might have to jump between and hit.
We'll have to figure something out. We'll talk off mic.
Yeah,
How you doing, buddy?
it's been a little bit hectic my way, Joe. School was pretty hectic. I had one of my bigger exams today was business finance. That was a bit tax. Yeah, it's getting a little annoying. I have one more exam before finals.
Okay.
In December. That is next week, but that is not a hard finals multiple choice kind of deal. So I don't find that bad when there's the answer is actually there somewhere. Hopefully, I can figure it out. But yeah, so business finance kicked my butt today. And then I was studying all weekend minus the Geekverse trivia stuff.
Man, I sucked at the trivia this week.
I got a BBS question steal. We're going to talk about that a little bit in a second.
Okay,
but yeah, so I was studying a lot for that, for business finance, and I got it today. So I had to watch all those episodes: Titans, Stargirl, Smallville. I knocked all that out today. So it was a pretty DC heavy day for me, Joe, and I can't wait to talk about it. Obviously, we had the network plugs we got to do, but before we do that, Geekverse, the guys over at Geekverse did their 24-hour live stream for charity for BC Children's Hospital this past weekend. Both myself and Joe participated in the trivia component of that, which was really enjoyable.
It was fun. It was so much fun.
They raised a total of $2,050, which is great. That goes to a great cause, and they've raised over $10,000, I think, in the 6 years they've been doing it. So, like, this goes to help kids. It's like a great thing.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about the trivia here for a second, Joe. That was a really enjoyable experience. John Roca did the Marvel. That was pretty fun. I can't believe I missed Dr. Doom, who played Dr. Doom in the Fantastic Four films. Nip Tuck actor too. Are you kidding me?
Look, I missed David S. Goyer, who directed Dark Knight Rises. Like, but even that, and it's also one of those things that as soon as trivia is done, the pressure's all off. It's like, of course it's. How did I not know? Like, it's just.
See, and the funny thing, listeners, before going in, I was supposed to be on Team Travis. I was in the tweet for Team Travis, and we get into the trivia. We start going, and Greg asked the question who was supposed to be on Team Travis as well, and I'm the one doing the steal. I thought that was okay, and then I guess I was magically on Team Taylor. Not complaining because that was the winning team at the end, and I stole a question from Tim Rooney, who was on Team Travis, the BBS question. He just said lead, and it was actually PB written on the my grenades. I knew that when he said that. I was like, yes, they're going to do technicality here, I hope, because it's actually PB written. And technicalities abound because The Marvel Alliance guys were not happy about episode. Chris missing out on episode.
Look, he is technically right on that. I'm not gonna lie, but I don't know. It is what it is.
Travis Sales and Jackson. Well, we're looking into this. Taylor did some tricks. Yeah, like I stole the point that eventually we won by 1 too. So, and Snell, it was a great time.
It
We
was a
hope to do it
blast,
again
Travis. Thanks for
next
having us
time.
on, man.
I gotta say too, watching them live stream, being 4.5 hours difference from them, it was pretty fun to me. I got to drop in at various times. There was once I dropped in and Snell was wrapped up in the blanket. I'm not sure if it was a pink or green blanket. I think we have similar one here that's pink, and sleep. And then I go do the dishes, get breakfast, come back, and Kirkland is wrapped up in the very same blanket, asleep next to Snell, who's up on the computer going. And I'm like, what happened in the last 2 hours that I missed? So there's a lot going on. There's some really interesting games played. I thought the Smash was especially. I really maybe want to play Super Smash Bros. Melee again.
Nice.
Yeah,
I didn't get a chance to. I didn't get a chance to watch it. My daughter was sick for most of the day, and I had to go help out my brother. I was supposed to take both my kids to go see One Piece Film Red, but because my daughter was sick, my girlfriend decided she was going to
pretty well
stay
in the
here.
box office.
It's number 2. It was a good movie.
The projections were 16, I think, and it was a little lower than that, like 9.
I think it was like 9, close, maybe 10. I loved it. My girlfriend's daughter, I was able to take her, and she just had a blast. So much so that she, like, as soon as we left, she's like, "So you're gonna get that for me for my birthday, right?" I'm like, and her birthday's coming up. I'm like, "No, the film's not out yet on DVD. It just came out in Japan." And she's like, "So you're gonna get it for me for Christmas then, right?" I'm like, "No, it's not out yet."
You're like, when it comes out, you will get it.
Look, I'm gonna buy it for myself, and you can borrow it, okay?
AKA, you'll take it and keep it for yourself.
Well, One Piece is my jam. I love the One Piece anime. Ask Clay.
Just
One Piece is the one thing I love.
Just buy 2 copies, Joe. You're just gonna just buy.
Nope, not happening. No. She can borrow mine, and then when she moves out, she can go buy her own.
That's awesome. Yeah. Oh, I'll do the network plugs quickly. We're pretty long little intro here, but it was fun.
Sorry.
Like I said, I can't wait for it next year. And like I said, props to Snell, Kirkland, Dylan, Taylor. It was, Jessica. Job, it was great job by everyone. So we are part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance with 8 shows in total. On Mondays is Ranger Alliance, and that rotates bi-weekly with Slice of Film. On Tuesdays is DC Alliance. On Wednesdays is Superhero Discussions. On Thursdays is Star Wars Alliance. On Fridays is Marvel Alliance. On Saturdays, bi-weekly, as they walk through the multiverse. On Sundays, monthly, is World's Finest True Believers. DC Alliance goes live on the Geekverse YouTube channel Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Star Wars Alliance goes live Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and Marvel Alliance goes live Thursdays at 9-10 p.m. Eastern Time. All 3 of those shows also have their own podcast feeds. Search Marvel Alliance, DC Alliance, or Star Wars Alliance if you just want Marvel content, DC content, or Star Wars content. But if you want all 8 shows on GUA Podcast Network, stay subscribed to the GUA and your podcast app of choice. We also have a Patreon, 2 tiers, a $1 tier and a $5 tier. $1 tier is basically a tip jar, like we're doing, and you want to help us out any way you can. And the $5 tier is where you get your extras. You get your ad-free episodes, early access episodes, and Patreon exclusive episodes. We have myself and Joe doing the DC films through the years. We're going to get together and do a new installment on that soon enough.
Yeah,
Joe has a lot of free time here now, and I am past my exams and even for the test. Derpy, we have something to tell you in 2 seconds too about your message as well. Yeah, so we have Marvel Alliance guys doing their MCU rewatch. We can watch this all day. We have Clay doing for the first time rewatches. He's doing Game of Thrones right now. We have Katie doing Star Wars comics with her husband. And we have Joe doing his multiverse minutes. Joe just finished his Halloween extravaganza of
30 plus days of Halloween.
37 days, is that you said?
37 total. But yeah, I still call it 30 plus because it sounds better.
Sounds better. Sounds more smooth. So we thank everyone that's a patron. But if you can take a quick 30 to 60 seconds to rate and review the podcast on your podcast app of choice, that would be greatly appreciated. That's everything. Okay, Derpy sent us in a DM. We asked him last episode when he was talking to us about what he thought they should do going forward for Gunn and Safran. and it gave us a pretty great idea. First of all, Derby, I had a finance exam, explained that a little earlier in the episode. That kind of kicked, it was pretty massive on Monday. So that was my weekend, was studying that. I started to read your message and got through it, and it gave me a great idea. Next week, we're going to put out a tweet after this episode, probably tomorrow, asking other listeners what they think the first 5 films in the Gunn Safran DCU going forward after Aquaman 2 should be. And we're going to talk about them, talk about yours as well, and your ideas to go with that, and give our thoughts as well on what we think the first 5 films should be going forward. That was a pretty good topic idea, and to give it a little bit more justice. So we will be getting to that next week, Derpy. You had some interesting ideas. Myself and Joe were actually talking about some of them before we went live here tonight. So actually, thank you for the topic, I guess we'll say.
We really appreciate it.
And no, it was not spam, we'll say as well. There was a lot of interesting ideas there. It was a lot, but it was all pertaining to DC, so it was an interesting read. Yeah. So, Joe, let's get into the show. And the opening topic is about James Gunn. He responded to the release the Ayer cut that was trending over the weekend. I'm not sure exactly the highest that it reached in terms of Twitter. I know at one point it was at 250K. It wasn't at the million of the Zack Snyder cut was back at the push that it had. But I still think that where there's less that it has to be spent on it to finish it, there is a chance. So yeah, Gunn responded to this, which is shocking because I want to talk about that first. What do you think about him actually responding?
Because he doesn't have to respond. So
what about the previous regimes? What about the previous regimes?
Well,
they were basically channeling their inner Batman and hiding in the shadows.
Well, no, but they did respond. They responded in articles in not newspapers, in magazines saying, "Oh, it's not going to happen."
Yeah,
Gunn's response saying it's not going to happen right.
Initially,
everybody took it in a different interpretation. He's basically, the way I took it is it's not happening now. But never say never.
Yeah,
it's so well. If it happens, great. Like, I would love to see it, and it's money just sitting there. People want it, and people will, even if the people who say they don't want it, they're gonna go either rent it or buy it, or they're gonna find a way to watch it. They're gonna watch it. It's gonna get watched. People are gonna see this.
And usually with some of these, the DC films I've watched, the 2 different cuts of films that have been out, the other cuts have been better.
Almost always.
Both in the BVS and the Zack Snyder Justice League case, those are the only 2 alternate cuts in the DCU, and both of those are better in my opinion.
Well, DCU, but if you look at WB in general, you've got Superman 2.
Yeah,
you've got. Well, BVS is another one that had theatrical and directors.
Yeah.
Then
Watchmen.
Obviously Justice League. What did Watchmen have a
Watchmen had like 3 different cuts. I only watched one, so I'm not sure. Scott's there like
I've got director's cut right there. So
yeah. So but I took this the same way. I'll read his quotes just to get it away. Gunn said, "Open up Twitter in the Milan Creative Weekend to see the many tweets to save Legends of Tomorrow and release the Ayer cut and fan support for other DC projects over the years. The majority of these requests were enthusiastic and respectful, which is nice as well, because that's what I saw for the most part.
Yeah.
I have a lot of people blocked though. As the new and first ever CEO of DC Studios, Peter and I think it's important we acknowledge you, the fans, and let you know we hear you. We hear your different desires and pathways forward for DC. Although our ability to interact on Twitter has been lessened due to our workload of our new positions, we are listening and open to everything as we embark on this journey, and will continue to do so for the next few years. But all our initial focus is on story going forward, hammering out the new DCU, and telling the biggest story ever told across multiple films, television shows, and animated projects." So
he also calls it DCU. So
yeah, DCU. He says that. So that's what it is.
As the CEO.
I'm okay with that. It's not some random publication saying Worlds of DC and trying to push that when that was so I'm okay with like thank you putting it out. I love this response. Like I said, the old regime never interacted with the fans like this, and this is what The Rock was
Right
saying
there.
as well on his press tours about like we hear the fans, like this is new. We're not going to do everything, but we hear you, and I think this is the case here too, Joe, because Zadlov spoke on an earnings call saying like we have things, unused projects as well that can earn us money. And if this costs like 11, I heard 11 or 13 million just for the VFX to finish the little bit that's left. If that was the case, I could see this going up on HBO Max or something like this little return on
Something, I
investment.
mean,
It's all about return on investment. They could
yeah.
even sell this out to Amazon, or because this is what I think about the Save Legends people as well, that you keep campaigning for your show because CW had a big deal with Netflix. And there's no reason. Look what happened to Lucifer. There's no reason that they can't take that show and revamp it and bring it to Netflix or keep doing the exact same thing. So you keep pushing for your show and show that you have a fan base out there. On the game says, has The Rock, Gunn, and Saffron acknowledged each other since last week? I don't know. I think Rock is still in promoting Black Adam mode, to be honest with you, on the game. The Snyder cut, but seeing the Ayer cut would be fine for just. Yes, like Derpy, I think Ayer got the worst deal of all because his movie was changed, not even because his movie, it was because of reaction to BBS.
Yep.
Like they changed his movie that was already done. So that's why I think that's a really raw deal to not, it's not even because your movie.
Well,
Like
they were even changing it before he even started filming because if you remember, the initial storyboards had the
Steppenwolf.
Well, no, not Steppenwolf. Well, it did, but
Yeah,
it had what are they called? The grunts. The
I don't know.
the thing that Batman just kills at the very beginning of the 2017 Justice League. The
Parademons.
Thank you, Parademons.
Yeah,
It had Parademons instead of the eyeball monsters. So
the only thing with this too is it would probably be like a the only question, like thing that would throw in question is Diablo being alive. So S Bub's coming in with the Parademon as well. Yeah, S Bub's.
Thanks, S Bub. Sorry,
I was wondering what he was talking about for a second.
The poop soldiers. Yeah,
the poop
exactly.
soldiers. Yeah,
God, those things
and
sucked.
On the Game says not even a quick social media post by The Rock. Congratulations. Yeah, that's a little surprising. I feel like they're gonna have meetings first. I think that Rock could be a little nervous. We'll talk about that in the Black Adam box office update in a little bit. But I thought this was at least positive news, and I'm really excited for what is possible going forward. I can't wait to come up with my 5 films, and I'm going to even throw in a couple TV projects in there as well to connect. I think there is just a lot here, what he said with animated projects as well, Joe. That was a really interesting part to me.
I thought you probably honed in on that one, huh?
Well, it's rare too, although, well, not rare because Marvel's doing it with their What If and their Marvel Zombies. Those are MCU adjacent.
Those haven't, like, those are connected to the MCU, but we haven't seen anything actually connecting yet with those.
I wonder if World's Biggest Geek says, I wonder in the Ayer cut, the one who voiced the villain in Zack Snyder's Justice League would be in his movie in the cut. I'm not sure. I don't know if he's not the same voice. Is not the same voice in BVS. I don't even think he speaks maybe in BVS. I'm trying to remember. It's a scene now. It's in the.
No, it's just a scene. Like it's you
he's
come
leaving,
in and
yeah.
Or just
same as me, Derpy. I think it would be good. I'll see it at home. He's talking about Black Adam. I do not care about Black Adam because the Rock film promoted by. I will say, Derpy, there is some very good fan service to the JSA. Those are arguably some of the more interesting characters in the film.
JSA
Dr.
was
Fate
probably some of the better parts.
Incredible, and same thing with Hawkman. So those are some things to look forward to as well.
But yeah, no. If you go wait till you have a home release, good on you, my dude.
Thank you,
like,
that's awesome. That's what I thought. I was just a little unsure. You see him with Lex, but
okay.
Yeah. So I think this is positive, like we were talking about. It's good in next house, and Gunn and David Ayer interacted as well. David Ayer quoted and said something pretty nice along the lines of like, DC is in good hands with you, James, and James Gunn retweeted with a heart. Like, it's just nice to see. I don't think James Gunn is going to be trying to stop it. Like, there's been some petty people keeping Superman on the sidelines and stuff. So I don't think there's any of that.
I think the biggest thing for this is the fact that he is actively wanting to connect it all. Like, it's not going to be, hey, we're going to connect it, and then they don't even attempt it. James Gunn is and Saffron are. It sounds like they are officially going to try. Like they're
Yeah.
going to do their best to actually connect the shows, the movies, the animated, but they're not going to just be like how Agents of Shield was. Oh, it's connected until it's not. Like it's like we're trying to connect this. It's going to take some time.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Joe. And to Alan the Game, he says, why not just make a clean break from because Aquaman and Wonder Woman were too successful to be.
Yeah,
That's
it's
the
not going to
completely
happen.
hard truth of the matter, and now they're kind of intertwined. I like how they're trying to like move away from some parts and go into others, like Superman. I don't think like to be against Superman here, and you can tie them in. So
Like they
just
do have an opportunity to really write the path. And
yeah,
I'm not saying it has to be the path that was started with Man of Steel. Just
no.
write the path of WB
Make a
screwing up.
plan, stick to the
Exactly.
plan, and know
It
what you're
doesn't
doing. And
matter
this
who it
sounds
is.
exactly like it. Just that little bit there was more giving me a plan. We're talking about movies, TV shows, and
Yeah,
animation. Like that.
exactly.
And
So I'm looking forward to what Gunn and Saffron have planned, and like, yes, bring it.
and
I'm
go
here for it.
Peacemaker as well because he's already done a TV show that's connected to the DCU.
Yep, and he's
So
got another one in the works.
yeah, so it's great. Yeah, so we'll take our first ad break of the evening. Listeners, we're an ad-supported network. We don't pick the ads or the volume. I'm going to give you a quick 3 count to adjust your volume, and we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. And we're back. Okay, Joe, we're going to get into Black Adam now. We're going to give the box office update. So Black Adam crossed 300 million globally, grossing 25.4 million on its third weekend overseas, a 35.4% drop from last weekend. It got 182.3 international in 76 markets, and it's 137.4 in the US and Canada. So 319.7 global run. Luis Fernando says 400 million is locked, eyeing a 410 to 430 million global run without China. It doesn't look like it's going to get in China from everything
Yeah,
we've read here, but I also, like I said, it's pretty shut down. And World's Biggest Geek says about the JSA, Dr. Fate was an amazing character in the movie, and Adam Smasher was pretty good too. I agree with both of you. S-Bub says no, China is going to be a big blow. I agree,
correct.
especially. But right now, China, I don't think is the biggest market as what people are thinking because they are in a lot of COVID lockdowns and they don't mess around with their COVID lockdowns. They'll crack skulls. S. Bubs also said, if Bloodsport is an upcoming project, do you think they might actually film a scene with him shooting Superman? I think anything's on the table with Gunn. If you think about the Peacemaker finale, I really think anything is on the table for these projects, especially if you want to integrate the bigger and smaller universe. Because, like you said before, that was the problem with Agents of Shield, is you're expecting these, you're setting it up, kind of expecting it, and then you throw me this like weird Asgard character, and Sif as the Sif is the biggest, and
Sif was a
Samuel L.
connection.
Jackson.
They had Samuel L. Jackson. They had what's in wow, it's been too long since I've seen an MCU
But
movie.
Peacemaker, yes, they had the JL at the end there, but
But Peacemaker is directly from
a
uh
movie, a movie.
the movie. Well, so was Phil
Phil Coulson.
Coulson. I was gonna say Phil
Yes,
Collins.
but
Like
we're
that's
talking
not
about a
right.
hero too, though. We're talking about a
Correct.
hero.
Like,
Yeah,
but they also weren't pushing Coulson at, like Coulson was like, oh yeah, he's hiding. Fury's hiding him, so we can't actually bring in any of the Marvel heroes. And then they had like the staff show up in season 2, which led to Age of the Shield, Age of Ultron.
yeah,
But yeah, Peacemaker. You had Waller. You had Peacemaker. You had a couple of the people from Suicide Squad.
yep,
And then, yeah, the big thing is you had them every single episode. They were talking about DC people,
yeah.
Superman, Batman, Flash, Wonder Woman, like, and then
Agreed.
they all showed up at the end of the season. Like, that's connectivity.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
And All the Game says even if China wasn't issued, the studio only gets 25% max the box office. That's not surprising. But you still build a fan base globally is kind of what you're searching for. DC is pretty big in like Brazil and other countries. I think the Middle East is pretty big as well. Derpy says DCU has to be phase by phase like Marvel, somewhat close tone of Marvel, but have balance where it doesn't go Super Friends level. they can go dark sometimes, but the balance needed for work.
I
I think
don't
it's
think
all about the directors, and I think Gunn has said as much. But I think there are characters that can go that way that you want. I think there are other characters that probably shouldn't be put in that way. Like we don't need to see Batman in a funny tone. Like I don't need to see Batman laughing a
I
lot or
just
anything
don't
like that.
want all of it to be Marvel. I mean, yes, Marvel is a
Marvel's
success.
awesome. I can't wait for
Marvel
him.
has done what, like, I'm not saying they can't do anything wrong, but like they have made a platform and it's successful.
Yeah,
That's the Marvel way. DC doesn't have to be Marvel.
yeah,
That's
I
what
would
that's
agree
what
with
The Rock was saying couple weeks back, a month back, or however long ago it was. I
But
just
I will say I agree with Derpy in that I would like it to be like phase by phase planned out. Like you plan it out. Like give me some structure in what you're doing. Like you
yes,
guys know,
structures,
like structure is
but we don't need to be
pretty.
calling it phase 1, phase 2 like Marvel.
No, we can just say something different than
Yeah,
that. But
exactly.
you have it on your board as something. World's Biggest Pizza. I thought the Peacemaker show. I thought maybe some of the team members of the Suicide Squad would have been there. I thought that, but he was like let go from the Suicide Squad, so I didn't think
Well,
they'd
let go.
see
He was
him.
killed, and then they found his body and revived him.
Well, Waller was
So,
just gave up on it. Like didn't like they could have kept him in the hospital. They knew like
oh
they
yeah,
knew he
that
was there. So yeah, she gave him to the I can't remember the guy now, the alien guy, and let him like work for him. On the game said that's why Wonder Woman made so much profit as Aquaman, despite the latter making over 300 million more, came from that from China.
true. Yeah,
And well, maybe that means they might get a bit more for the next film as well if China already knows it's a big hit over there. Yeah, so
yeah, but The Rock is a big hit. Just The Rock in general,
that's
and
true. I just think there's
because
a
of a
positioning
little
for
thing,
this.
is they're not going to put over there. So,
He's not dropping the Black Adam box office is not dropping super drastically now, but I think he would have had legs if
right
it.
now,
I think it would have had legs if it was in the summer
oh
sometime.
yeah, oh
Positioned or a few
100%.
weeks earlier, I think he would have got maybe to 500 million. But Black Panther's going to come and squash that
Yeah,
next
no,
week. So
where he's not going to be number one. He'll be number two, maybe.
as Bob said, I'd rather them have a plan and not announce a long term plan like Marvel than announce 15 movies. Do them. As Bob, I still burn from the DC did that in like 2017, listed the tree of their movie, or 2015 listed the tree of their movies that were going to be there, and like more than half, 75% didn't happen. So, uh,
Because BVS happened and Warner Brothers got scared.
but I'm all about like keeping your cards a little bit close to vest. Like let's get a movie or two. Uh,
Exactly.
don't but like you have your own plan, like know what you're doing, but you don't have to announce them like SPUB said will probably be the greater. My question to you, Joe, about all this is do we think we're going to get a sequel from Black Adam? Like what do you think it needs to hit for WB to
See,
consider it?
The Rock does draw people in. This, I think, was just in a bad spot. And at the same time, it got bumped twice.
Yeah, and I think Rock
So
needs to be more open with Shazam
correct.
crossover.
He can't.
So
As much as I can agree with him, having the Black Adam in Shazam for a one little scene wasn't the best idea, and making its own movie was good. Like
yeah,
good job. But now the fact that you did not make the number you were trying to hit,
yeah.
it needs to tie into another hero. Like if Black Adam and Shazam show up in a movie together, you're gonna do gangsters. That's a given. I think that would be the sequel if we get a sequel. We may not get a sequel. I think we will. Honestly, I think we might. I think Rock will. He's got the power to push it, but I don't know.
All the games says black box office experts have Black Adam tapping out at most 420, which I don't think that's the worst, but with the budget,
It's not
it's
bad.
not as
With the
good.
budget being 200 million, that is where, because if it's just 300 right now, I can't say yeah, it's gonna be a definite sequel
And
until
world
we get that. Until we get a little bit more. If we get to 4, I can definitely say that we're gonna get a sequel.
I think we'll see more appearances of Black Adam in
Oh,
the
100%.
DCU,
Like
and I want him to be in Shazam, Joe. I think that
I
at the
think
very least, film a credit scene. You know what I thought would have been nice is just a couple times in the movie, twice in the movie of Shazam too. You'd hear Billy would stop for a second, and he'd hear Shazam echo and realize
I
that these two events happen concurrently, but he can hear when Black Adam says Shazam. Like he can hear when any like I'd like for him to be able to hear when the Shazam family says Shazam too when he's not around. I wish that was a little
yeah,
thing that like they could all hear each other
it
if they say
you know
Shazam.
it might be. I could definitely see that being a possibility, and I would love to. I love to say for them to say that Shazam 2, Fury of the Gods, and Black Adam were happening at the same time.
Yeah,
I
that's
think that's about the only time, the only thing you can get away with where that's why Shazam didn't show up.
show it on TV somewhere when he's fighting the gods of Atlas issue in Kandahar or something or Kandak, sorry.
Exactly. Exactly.
World's Biggest Geek says Arrowverse, the way they build their universe to Crisis, they took their time with each episode, and the characters were introduced one by one. They brought them live. I am all for
Yep,
that. World's Biggest Geek,
100%.
even though my opinions on Crisis on Infinite Earths may not be aligned with all the biggest Arrowverse fans or what you would think of me as a big Arrowverse fan as well. That was a little bit of a frustrating payoff for me. But I did like the planning that went in there. There was like you teased that in the first season of The Flash, the very first episode, and then you wait so long to pay that off was pretty great. And the way they built for that, I just wish it wasn't as cameo fested. I wish there was more story for some of the cameo people. So I understand though, show network restrictions, budgets. It was still enjoyable for me, but yeah, it left a little bit desired. But yeah, I'm with you, Joe. I'm not sure. I need to see the final total for Black Adam before I can.
Exactly.
But
And
we're
are
both in agreement he's going to be a brand.
Are we also gonna like call or add in the at home revenue when it comes in for a possibility of a sequel? Because if that's the case, then
I
like
hope
over
so.
total.
People are really dismissive about that sometimes, but
Yeah. I mean, I'll buy it. I'll buy the steel box. I'll add it to my collection.
I'm going to have to do the same, Joe. I'm going to have to do the same. Just like Espa said, just like Peacemaker showed the news article about the Intergang can. Yes, connecting, and James Gunn connected that. So
Wait, hold on. They did?
yeah, it was in the newspaper. I think when Vigilante went to the
The prison?
for Peacemaker's father, I think it
Well,
was there.
snap. Didn't even
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, so I was super, and then it ties into her being there as well, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that makes
yeah.
sense.
So it was just,
See, look at that.
those
That's
nice little things.
connectivity right
There
there.
you go. They're right there. We really enjoy that kind of thing. So we'll move on to the next topic. We got a new show, Joe. New show's out.
Yep.
If you listen to me
Yep, we
talk,
do.
listeners, before at the end of the season finale for this third season, probably thought this wasn't going to happen. DC was pretty rough on content. There was pretty tumbleweeds rolling around before Stargirl. So I resigned myself to doing this, and then I saw the trailer for this show, and I was excited. I saw Lex Luthor, and I thought, go check this out.
Okay, so let's put a pause right there. The trailer came out, and Titus Welliver as Lex Luthor looked fantastic.
Yeah.
The one thing this show has always done has had great costumes. And then the show starts. And I'm like, okay, this is different, weird. Not bad. My indication that this show was going to go off the rails is when they're bowling, the Titans are bowling, having a fun little time, doing their own thing. Okay. Superboy like fucks it up, or no, yeah, Beast Boy does the tentacle arm, Boy does the strike. Like it's fun stuff. The thing that really me though is Rachel Raven. She has a vision. Okay, fine. She knocks over her glass of milkshake and then sees blood, and then she proceeds to like have this vision. Things are going weird, a little wonky, and somebody asks her if she's okay, and she looks. She's like, "Yeah, nothing's wrong." Puts her hood on and walks away. Bitch, that is somebody's job to clean up that milkshake, and you were like, "Oh no, that's fine." Get the hell out of here! Come on.
I was not expecting you to go there. I thought you would complain about like blood, go back for like one, you just disregard it or something.
No,
but no,
it's the fact that she made a mess, and then it's just like you may not have liked that milkshake. Oh, fine. Why are you making a mess for these people to actually clean it up? Like you clean up your own mess.
in her defense, her father is Trigon, so the fact that she is not eating people's heads is kind of a thumbs
Mm,
up on
mm.
like good job to avoid the bad life that could be. But I'm understanding, Joe. As a future parent here, I will not. I will teach my kids to clean up their milkshake if
I'm
they
just
knock it
saying, you
over.
make a mess, you clean it up. Okay. Joking aside, though, the episodes. There's some problems with what's going on in the show. One of the things is one of the biggest things for me that I saw is apparently everybody knows who the Titans are. Like they go everywhere without even
Yeah, yeah.
dressing up in
Super secret
costume. Like,
secret identities don't
why?
mean anything.
Exactly. Like, I don't get that's bad. Especially
Yeah.
especially for the Star Labs people. Oh, hey, Dick Grayson, you're Nightwing. Cool, here you go. Oh, so we already know Dick Grayson's Nightwing. You can backtrack to Dick Grayson was with Batman or with Bruce Wayne. Dick Grayson was the first Robin, or Batman's
Well,
Bruce Wayne.
Tim's like saying like the Robin suit out in the middle of
Like
Star
what?
Labs. Are all
I
these
get they're
employees signed
probably
NDAs? Like you tell me
yeah, you have to.
Joker can't interrogate one of these scientists and figure out some things. It,
That
it
bugged
don't
me
care
a lot.
anymore, Joe. To be honest with you, because I think it's the final season. They just don't care. They're not thinking about the little tiny dales. Those are things that matter to shows like
Oh,
this to
like
keep us.
when they find a dead body and Raven's hands are all over it.
Yeah,
Fingerprints, come on.
the only one she's pretty tired. I
Sorry.
have a question for you about that too. But I want to say I think that these episodes were average, which is not what you want for a start. Like there were some good scenes, like some interesting scenes, cool, some fight scenes, like Nightwing versus ninjas. I thought that was great action. I thought the fight versus the Madam, I can't remember her name now, Madam
Oh,
Mayhem, Mother Mayhem.
Mother
Sorry, Mother
Mayhem.
Mayhem.
That was awesome.
Uh,
That was a good
that
fight,
was awesome
but
as well.
we saw that already because they shared it earlier. I
Yeah.
did okay, so another thing. Are we gonna count this as transformations? Because Beast
No, we
Boy
have to talk about
blacked
two
out
things.
and
Couple
then
slaps in the
he
face. I thought there was a couple slaps in the face to fans of the show because you basically teased that we're going to see Superman and didn't do that,
yeah.
and then Beast Boy transformed into 3 different animals apparently:
What was
a
it? It was a
gorilla,
gorilla, a raptor,
armadillo.
and armadillo.
Yes,
And
and we didn't see any of those.
but do those count though? That's 3.
They don't count for
Eh,
me. Nope, they don't
okay.
count for me. I have to see
Okay,
him.
fine.
I saw an octopus tentacle. Now, if you're telling me he's going to do like pivot between, I need to see more from this. And now apparently, whenever he transforms, he goes in this weird dream world. So that
Which
was
makes
never
me
hinted
think
at.
we're not going to see any
That,
transformations this
that
year.
was never hinted at in any of the previous seasons. So I don't know where that's coming from. If listeners, if anybody knows where that's coming from, can you hit me up and let me know? Because
What was that? Sorry, I heard noises. So
the
the mental game thing.
him going into this like weird kind of like the Black Panther like a
I
emo version. Therapy said that, but they look like emo. That was that a little emo version of where Black Panther went, where in the when he ate the purple
yeah, the heart
herb thing,
to
herb shape
commune with
herb.
the
Yeah,
previous kings.
yeah, just looked like a
This
like
might be new
beast mode.
Beast
Yeah,
Boy lore.
yeah.
In the Titans comics and in oh crap, what was it?
Jeff Johns, right?
No. Like
Oh,
new as in Rebirth
oh,
comics. Um, he
thank you,
Beast Boy's
Ancestral Flame.
physiology. Thank you. Yep, Beast Boy's physiology has changed over the years, and there actually is a Jeff Johns comic where he is having trouble controlling his
Yeah.
changing forms.
And he talked
So
about writing an episode with Jeff Johns, so maybe that could be
maybe
a
that could be it.
solo.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll do my homework on that one because I know Teen Titans book back here. Sorry. So
Sorry, I have too many comics.
oh no, modern day
Terrible.
problems.
How terrible. But like,
But yeah, I'll look into that one. I'll get back to you on that one. I think yes, him having this weird thing going on with his powers mentally is kind of a cop out. Not gonna
yeah,
lie.
yeah. So I hope that doesn't happen for the rest of the season or anything. I hope we get some transformations. Like what they talked about is what I was asking for, going through like 3
I want
animals
to
in
see
a
it. I definitely
yeah,
want.
same.
I want to see it.
Like,
Another thing I want to talk about is the fact that they promoted Lex Luthor as being this big thing, and
I have the theory I might drop for you on that as well.
I've got a thought too. But
Yeah.
he's dead by episode 1.
Yeah, yeah, and there's even interviews of him talking about that now. I thought I really did like is it Derpy is not it's HBO Max, so it's completely separate. Titans are from
Yep. And so they've got a budget, and
they've
they've
got a
got
big budget, and you see some like you see Star Lab, you see LexCorp, you see Daily Planet. Like there's some big set pieces here.
they're in Metropolis this year, whereas sure they
They
were
have a
in
budget. That's not a reason for them to not tell great stories. But we're
correct.
like they have, yeah. So the writing's always been the issue with this show, and I'm
Yeah,
not
the
sure. It's a little
actors are
confusing.
costumes are great.
Yeah,
Writing is just
we don't
crap.
we don't know. I don't know anything about Brother Blood. I'm still open
Which
to.
so I'll give props to this. Okay, one
It was on the DCU for the first year, and then it went to HBO Max after that. Yeah.
one quick gripe, and then some props. The gripe is when they do the mirror thing where he's in the mirror and he goes down and cup, and it's two different things. They could have done that better
Yeah.
because they were way off. The stunt double were way off. They were doing the same scene and then going down like, okay, crap. But when he comes up and he's actually like, it looked great. And then him in the blood and the hand, like it looks like I'm intrigued by what's happening. The fact that Sebastian is being taken over and not realizing it is awesome. I'm loving because the sixth episode of this first half is called Brother Blood. So we're gonna spend these next 3 episodes him not, and he's been seeing the blood constantly. So we're gonna see him evolving into Brother Blood, becoming Brother Blood.
That's literally the last scene of the second episode. It's him seeing with the blood in the cup.
So I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to him being Brother Blood.
I've seen him act really well in a show that I hate it. Watching. Hate probably just annoyingly watched. So I think he has the talent there. Really interested to see him when he goes completely Brother Blood. I don't know when that'll be. I'm really excited to see them take on Mother Mayhem because she essentially stole Rachel's power, her connection with Trigon. So I think she's going to have to make a new one to be able to help take these two down. She's basically the white version of herself right now that we saw. I saw that most recently in Justice League Dark Apocalypse War. She used that to revive Raven. We seen her with the deer, I think, in the first season, revive him that was shot.
Oh yeah,
so
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I think that she can dabble in the white. So yeah, like I said, like the action. Lex Luthor, I enjoyed him, and Joe, I like that actor. I think he's been great.
Titus Welliver is an amazing actor.
He was really good in this as Lex Luthor.
Yes, he was.
Like, I will give him some props. He was never back down. He was really great with Starfire and that back and forth, and then having to drop on Nightwing. He seemed very formidable. I want to caution people: don't 100% assume that he is dead. That version, that version may be dead, but even the bald MFer in Smallville had clones of himself. So I would not be shocked. He created Superboy, who was a clone. So I would not be shocked by the end of this season to see Mr. Man come back into the fold and say that was a clone, or he used a clone to survive, or he transferred himself into a clone, or this is straight another version of Lex, just another clone. The world cannot not exist without Lex Luthor.
Here's my thought. So, end of the episode 1, Luthor is coughing up blood. A snake comes out of him, and Superboy grabs it and destroys it. Yeah. Episode 2, Starfire is talking to a LexCorp employee. Similar things happens. He coughs up blood, snake comes out, she kills it. I think their souls or themselves are being transformed into snakes, and that's what's killing him.
Ooh.
I'm probably way off on that. But
I don't know. We need explanations. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's up in the air that, like, this is why I talked to Joe about. Look, we're just going to talk about what we liked and didn't like and what confused us,
yeah,
because
because
there's a lot that's
there's
question marks, and
so
we
much
may get.
confusing.
There's got to be a lot of explanation, which I'm not confident about from previous 3 seasons of us getting a good result of that. But like I said, all the action was great in this too.
And because I don't want to shit on the show constantly, another great scene was when they rescued Arya, the one
Yeah,
girl,
yeah,
Arya, whatever her name is. Dick is in the hospital talking to her,
yeah.
and basically is like, "Hey, look, I lost my parents, both my parents, when I was about your age, and I had a guy come up to me, give me his jacket, this jacket actually, and he starts taking it off, and he gives her this advice, puts a jacket on her, and it's like, it's gonna be hard. Don't get through this. Like it.
Yeah.
That was a very touching moment. Really good. I really enjoyed that one.
Same, same. I gotta ask you now about the villain in that. Was that Sandman?
No,
No, what? Who was the villain in that? Like, that looked like the
it's
Sandman
a
mask, and then the song that was playing when they walked in was "Mr. Sandman" and
yeah
talking about
that
Dream, and she left him in a nightmare. I assumed that he was a Sandman.
no, um, because that mask was more of a ram. Well, cross
Are you
between a
sure that
ram.
wasn't
Well, it had the
Sandman?
ram horns, but it had like a crow face. It's not Sandman. It's not Sandman. Trust me, it's not Sandman because there was two more of them at the temple, like guarding, like in those masks and in the
Okay,
clothes.
okay.
So they are just occult members of whatever cult,
Thank you for
Brother
had
Blood's
he
cult.
put her in a dream?
That is just magical powers,
Okay, so that's why I thought he was Sandman.
which is understandable.
I'm
But
like,
she was not officially in the dream because I think even Raven said that she saw this before, and that's why she was able to go in and get her. I could I could be wrong, but I
no,
am
you're
almost
right because
positive he's not
there's
Dream. He's not Sandman.
you're 100% right, Joe. There's nothing here. I just the
Okay,
mask really threw me off. It's very
which is
similar to the Sandman mask. Not very
similar.
similar, little similar, and
There's
I it just
similarities, yes.
and the nightmare and the Mr. Sandman music. I'm like,
Which
was it
what
Sandman?
radio station is playing Mr. Sandman for 18 hours or longer?
Well, essentially, I love seeing Star Labs and Daily Planet,
That was
and
cool.
I'll be interested. I'm glad it's one episode, not two, next week. I will say that.
Also, props to Superboy for allowing himself to get arrested. He could have easily just taken
Yes.
all of them out with no problem whatsoever. But then like the SWAT team, he's talking to the cops. Like the
Yeah.
cop is reading
And
his Miranda rights, and then the SWAT team comes in. There he is, down on the ground. Blah, blah, blah. What the
it is what
he
Lex
what?
Luthor said to him. No, I thought there was the scenes with him and Lex too. The discussion
Those
that was
are
fantastic.
yeah.
He, like everything with Lex was great. So I can't really complain that much. Well, the everything but
I
the
can.
death came out of nowhere. And that was out of nowhere for me. But
Look,
yeah,
just
I
think of it
still.
this way. Think of it this way. I'm being harsh on it. If Clay was here, he'd be worse.
Oh my god, we wouldn't be watching it. So
That's-
I
Well,
really
you'd be watching it.
really
He just wouldn't be covering it. So
I really am. At least I didn't hate it. So
I
I'm interested to see where it's going to go.
hate is a strong word that I
Watched a
am
lot
almost
worse. I've watched a
using.
lot worse. I watched a
True.
lot worse.
True.
So I'm interested to see where they can go after seeing the bat in the season finale last year. Like, I mean,
And they
nothing is
showed it
off the
again in
table
the
for where they could
previews,
go.
or not the previews, in the previously on. So
Yeah,
I I can see him. Beast Boy's definitely going to change. He's going to have a
yeah,
couple transformations. I don't. I mean, I have it written down. I said 4 to 5. You said 5. So we'll see
yeah.
what
We don't
actually
count
happens.
those though. I don't know if we can even.
Well, no, we're not going
We
to count
can't
those
even
because we
count,
didn't actually see it.
and we can't count the octopus hand. We're talking full
It
animals
wasn't a
here. We're not
full
talking.
change.
Yeah,
But the fact that he did that just gave me hope that we're gonna
same.
see actual like him morphing into other characters.
I was hoping that he would get rabbit feet or something when he started running away from Tim in the woods. I was
Oh,
hoping
yeah,
he would
heard the
if he was
voice.
going, yeah, if he was going to keep doing the whole part animals, just doing part of it. But that was even more. I'm glad we might get full animals. So we'll talk about next week's episode when we get there. Was no preview for that, so we'll take
Yeah, I
another
was a little
ad break,
disappointed by that.
listeners. We're an ad-supported network. We don't pick the ads or the volume. I'm going to give you a quick 3 count to adjust your volume, and we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. And we're back. Okay, Joe. We have another episode here, Stargirl, which I thought was the best of the 4 episodes I watched this week.
I will agree with you.
Yes, Smallville episode was dumpster fire. If I'm being
I
completely
wouldn't say
honest
that
with
was
you, if you're,
dumpster fire. It just wasn't great.
I would call it terrible. We will discuss it
We'll
in a
get
little
there.
bit.
We'll get there.
But Stargirl, I thought this was rather enjoyable. There was obviously the trope that we see all the time, where you should have told people earlier instead of keeping a secret.
100%.
Cameron
Cameron.
finds out. I thought we got arguably a top 5, not arguably, definitely a top 5 action scene in CW shows.
What was really cool was now, I think what we're seeing here with especially Beth has been questioning really the advice that Starman has given her since he gave it to her.
Yeah.
And that was, not involve her parents, keep her parents out of it. And she saw how hurt her parents were. Well, this episode specifically, her dad gets a burner phone and calls her, and he had been looking up stuff on the suit
You've been talking to
and was
Dr.
like,
McBride.
so he's like, hey, you could do this with the suit, you can do this with the suit. And like, if he hadn't done that, the grandpa would be dead. Beth would probably be dead because she would have got frozen.
Oh yeah,
to
Beth.
death.
No, probably better. Beth would have been dead. See what happened to the art teacher guy, which
I
I
got
thought was
so
funny.
upset by that.
Nobody checked the trash on the way.
Wow.
On the way into fight there, I thought, or Courtney.
But that's the thing. Like, I think Beth is going to realize that because she's been trying to reach out to Rick and talk about the hourglass. Like, Beth is going to realize something's wrong with Starman. He is being like this. This is wrong. This is a problem. Speaking of, real quick, I just thought about this. 2 episodes ago, when they were searching, when they're pretending to be whatever for the cameras, doing their own things, where was Starman?
He's off doing, like, checking out all the, the list
now, but 3 episodes back when they were pretending for the cameras. Do you remember where Starman was?
I think he was down the underground looking for, like, that's where they came across Cindy Berman's lair after. He was down there looking for Dragon King, looking for Lair. He came across the ISA poster that he burned. I even think Cindy
that was but that was before they found out about the cameras.
Yeah, but I think he was down there earlier looking for something.
My point is, where I'm starting to go back onto the Starmanism watching them because he's being controlled. Only because he's been gone episodes, and I cannot call where it was at when they were being watched on camera. Everybody was like pretending to do stuff, I don't know. That just I know. I got to throw my hand. I'm Italian. Give me a break.
I love that. I love that. I do the same thing. I'm talking. I do my hands like that all the time.
I don't know. Like we
I got no answer for that. I have no answer for that. There's no.
We mentioned early on that Starman seemed off.
Yeah,
and I
think his advice was not good. And like you said,
this was terrible. His advice is actually going to tear the JSA apart.
And Beth is going against it, and it saved her life. I'm glad you brought that up, Joe, because that was one of my biggest critiques of Beth being around last season for the missions and that, wearing that. I was like, she's a complete liability because she can't fight. And I'm okay with how, like, the suit does everything for her, like the fighting and all that. That works for me. I'm okay with that. Rather than her training and trying to figure it out, I think that would take a lot more time. So that completely worked. I love a lot of the, like, things with the cape. And that whole fight scene, like I said, was amazing. And Rick finally went, and the payoff was good with Rick because he finally went off the rails because he's been 24/7 with the hourglass. He has it tied to himself.
A couple days.
Yeah. So it even showed up on Beth Scoggles about his aggression. And I
Yep.
thought Cameron really held his own. Like it was props.
Oh
And
man, like
I thought
yeah, totally.
I thought the grandfather was going to be killed by the grandmother. I honestly thought that was going to
So
happen at some point.
yeah, it was pretty darn close there for a second. But what essentially happens is, he has a heart attack. Beth comes in and saves him. And I think this is a situation where obviously the grandparents thought one thing: these kids are evil. They killed our son. They took away your father. No, they were just defending the city from somebody and the grandfather even said itself, like
Defending the world.
yeah,
He said he went down a bad path, and
yeah,
uh,
and
he was
so
like
I
he
think
was
it's going to change
hating her.
the fact that the kids, the JSA saved the grandfather will sway the grandmother for a minute. I think.
I believe they burst into their home. I want to know because the signal was apparently coming from the house. I want to know I don't think it was them that was watching.
Oh no,
Uh,
it was a jumper. Like it's just
yeah,
the signal's bouncing.
yeah. So and she said it might not be. So I gotta say like I don't think Cameron's going to forgive him. I think he's going to turn evil. I think
I don't know if he'll
when
turn
he
evil, but
finds
he
out,
forgive him right away.
yeah. And I'm interested to see. We don't have any payoff for who the villain is. We don't know who's watching him yet, which means myself and Joe talked about before we started recording.
Yep.
That might be a problem.
Before we get to the end of it, I do want to bring up a couple quick hits. Another couple things I liked. The Crocs.
Yeah,
They were like
actually sensible this episode.
They're
Yes,
genuinely friends of Pat and Barbara.
seeing
And
Tigress get so
she got emotional.
emotional when she
Yeah.
found out she was her friend. Yeah, that was I enjoyed that. That worked for
And then
me as well.
even Sportsmaster just coming up to Pat is like, hey man, like,
Yeah.
we're friends now. You can talk to me. Like I'll
I love that Pat is still dealing with the stuff they saw there. I'm glad
Yep.
it just wasn't brushed off like he tried to, but people wouldn't let him. And now it's really interesting part with Mike's mother, and I really like the Mike and Jamal uh, going around
Hakeem.
Hakeem, sorry,
Yeah.
uh, going around and trying to figure out this problem and using the pen
Using
and
the
like
Thunderbolt.
being actually concerned about the
Yeah.
person that's spying on him rather than Icicle Junior. So
Which
yeah,
to the end scene, which I have a lot of questions about.
Ultra Humanite out of nowhere.
Yeah, literally out of nowhere.
Yeah, I
I
don't. He's definitely not the person watching him. I don't think because I
no.
thought it would be a lot louder from him walking around. They definitely blew their CGI budget there at the end. I thought he looked
Oh, he looked
fantastic.
great.
Yeah,
But
just was not
why?
expecting to see him out of nowhere.
Like I'm wondering if they knew this season was going to be the last one when they filmed it.
They
Or
did. They hint that they knew, so they gave them a satisfying ending. So I think they
they had
used
like
people. Yeah, they did know.
okay.
I read. We
So
talked about it a couple weeks ago. I think.
yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I forget about things usually too, but the
all the time.
notes.
But the fact that okay, so he was the one who killed Gambler. Like that's almost a given now.
Yeah,
Me? I don't know. Like he's just dropping in here for what reason? If he had been talked about in season 1 or 2, him showing up now would make sense. But I can't recall him ever being talked about at all.
I don't think he was, Joe, and will we find out about it next episode? No one knows because we don't
I
know about
well,
the big
that's
bad villain for the season either.
I don't think. But that's the other thing. Like we've definitely had just a almost a villain of the week, and it gets introduced the episode before, and it's not fine. I can't say it's fine. It's just annoying. But
Yeah,
I
I'm
guess.
really interested to see how they're going to stick the landing to this. We have 3 episodes left, so
Yeah.
uh,
Is it
it
3? Because
I think
this is episode
maybe
10.
it's 2. Well, I thought this was episode 9.
Oh, so there's 13 episodes as far as I know. So
Okay,
we
so
got
4 episodes left.
4,
Yeah.
and I think we're gonna have another week where we will not have an episode. In theory, if my math is correct, because I believe the final episode will be
Oh, you just
November.
Zordon a little bit there.
Sorry, it happens. The final episode is gonna be December 7th, and so I'm I'm guessing the week of Thanksgiving will
I think
be
you're right on that. November
off.
23rd. So yeah, I think it'll be
Yeah.
off as well, Joe. So
So
we'll
give you
have
a
one.
couple. Yeah.
We'll have a less of a workload that week, I
Thank
guess.
God.
So episodes to watch. Yeah, thank God Titans is not 2 episodes. But like I
Ugh.
said, the action scene with the JSA members, not including Courtney, and I also want to say Artemis joined in to help them, and I thought that was
Yeah, just
pretty
out of the
cool as
blue,
well.
which I mean works. That was fun.
On the game says, what will be the best and worst reviewed of the next 4-year DCU movies? Ooh, I think the best review is going to be The Flash, and the worst reviewed will be Shazam.
I don't know.
Give yourself a second, Joe.
Maybe honestly, I could see Blue Beetle surprising, and maybe that being the best. But I could
Ooh,
also see
I hope
it being
so.
the worst. So I don't know.
So, we have a little bit of news before we get into the little third that is our retro recap. Sandman gets a second season. Huzzah!
Bam!
Fantastic.
Love it.
Neil Gaiman said there are some astonishing stories waiting for Morpheus and the rest of them. Now it's time to get back to work. There's family meal ahead after all, and Lucifer is waiting for Morpheus to return to hell. Are we excited? Oh, hell yes. I want to tell people that haven't watched the show, please give it a chance. I am not a big Sandman fan. I haven't checked out much of the comics. When I went into the show, I was very skeptical. And I, for one, thought it was awesome. And I'm more of a bang, bang, pew, pew kind of in my superhero stuff. But no, this was fantastic. And I implore people to check this out. We reviewed this. It was a crossover. DCA and Joe Show walk through the multiverse. So check that out. They're in the podcast feeds. Just
Man,
search
I am
Sandman GUA.
so excited that this is coming back for season 2. I've read the next, what was it, 16 issues, whatever the next thick volume is. Oh, there are some good stories coming.
I can't wait.
If they
Joe.
follow if they follow what they've already done in the comics,
I'm
which they
pretty
did,
confident Neil Gaiman is going to do that. I heard
we've got some good stories coming.
I can't wait, Joe. I can't wait, and can't wait for you to educate me on what I'm watching as well.
Do it again.
Woohoo! Also, we have a new poster for Shazam 2: Fury of the Gods.
Looks cool.
Our
Looks
first
fun.
poster. Yeah, he's just classic Shazam doing the Aquaman. All right.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about this film. I love the first Shazam, so giddy up. Give me. I saw people like clamoring for a Flash trailer. You're not getting that yet. You'll definitely have a Flash trailer attached to Shazam. So
Yeah, I
people,
think
No
I
Way
saw
Home.
somebody post on Twitter saying it's not going to be this year. We won't get it until next year.
No.
And
Yeah.
I can kind of confirm with my neighbor, he's still working on the movie. Like,
Yeah.
he's not going to be done with the movie until March.
VFX are heavy for a Flash film. VFX are heavy for a Flash film.
What did he say? Tell me. 2,400 frames. Like, and
damn.
this the most he's done. I think this. Okay, so the most he's done up until this point was 200, and that was for Zack Snyder's Justice League, and that was almost already done.
Nice.
Just them going back in and finishing up, and they had that finished up within 6 months. This is 2,000, and he's been working on it since December of last year.
Oh, dang.
And he's not going to be done until March. It's a 15-month job. He'll be so happy. He told me he's going to be so happy when he's done with this movie.
I can imagine. It must be annoying. Like I'd be so frustrated sometimes just working on that constantly, and you're always busy as a VFX person because these films are coming miles.
Well, and he works. So he lived in Indiana, and so he came from California. He grew up in California here with his wife, who is from here, and he works on Pacific time still. So he'll get up early. Well, he'll get up at like 8:00. Be like, all right, well, I don't have to start work until 11, but it's 9:00. I'll start working now. He's still putting in like 14-hour days because he'll get done at 5:00 our time. Well, it's only 2 o'clock there, so he stuck 3 more hours,
Oh,
and then
jeez.
put in another couple of hours. Like he's told me
Oh, Joe,
he's had
Joe,
a
Joe,
decent hour day.
Joe, that make me tired just hearing about his
Uh,
day. That's
he just
no love.
he
No,
like I
you would
said,
not get me as a VFX person. That's
he
not
is going
happening.
to be so excited when he's done with this movie.
So, what else do we have here before we
I think
have
that's Arkham Asylum.
4 sorry,
Oh yeah, sorry, up there. Yep, I'm skipping
Zaslav
ahead.
was on an earnings call and said, "We are very excited for a robust film slate. We are back in business with a lineup that features that are truly supportive of a distinctive theatrical window. The slate includes The Flash, Shazam: Fury of Gods, Aquaman: Last Kingdom, and Blue Beetle, DC's first superhero film, first superhero movie starring a Latino character, directed by Angel Manuel Soto." I thought it was really nice that they mentioned that as well, like more positive for woohoos. Let's not cancel these films.
Oh yeah,
I
I
love
think
that film.
they're at the point now where they're in on Blue, but they're not
Do you
gonna.
think any of these dates are going to change, or are these hard set? You think we're getting 4 next year? I think
I
we're going to, just because you can start the new DCU. You want to start it quicker, sooner rather than later. So you want to.
with Aquaman being the last one on the in December, I don't think like if Blue Beetle gets pushed, it'll only get pushed to like September, October. Like they're not gonna be out of 2023. We'll get all 4 next year.
I agree with you,
Um,
Joe, and I'm really excited. The stupid DC films teaser they had.
I also it's just
New
the
regime,
fact
new regime.
they put that out, and a week later, hey, we're moving everything. Like
Yeah,
you idiots. So I think
that
for nothing else, they want to get these movies out there. They want, like you said, they want to start the new DCU.
yeah.
So
And to end off our night, we have our Smallville retro recaps for episode 17, Reaper.
sorry.
Ugh, I
Um.
thought.
So
What did you think about this episode?
it was
Think you're
fine.
more kind than I thought this was a dumpster fire. Uh,
Look, it had Walter Brimley in it, even though it wasn't Walter Brimley. And
yeah,
instead of dying from diabetes, he dies from a guy grabbing him. So I don't know.
yeah, just
Um,
runs and catches them.
it was. I
It was the worst episode I've watched.
vaguely, I vaguely remember this episode. Vaguely.
It was the worst episode I've watched yet.
Okay. I uh, I know the guys, Michael Ryan and Tom. Like Ryan was okay with it. Tom was like
Yeah,
medium, and then was like, no, this is crap.
Rosenbaum, I'm more Rosenbaum's camp on this one because a lot of things didn't make sense. The best stuff for me, Lex outsmarting his father, I thought that was good. And the whole father son dynamic between Lex and Lionel
Yeah,
and
they
Clark, and
brought
that was
that
good
up,
stuff.
and that
That
was
was good
fun.
stuff, the back and
I
forth.
also didn't know
And
that there was the guy that was with Dominic. Didn't know that was Sean Connery's son.
I didn't either. I had no
Yeah.
idea. And like I said, I love, and Lionel's like, good job. I'm like, what kind of test is that? Like, what a terrible dad. What a terrible dad.
Oh, but John Glover looked great. I will agree with the boys on that one. He looked amazing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He always looks amazing. Besides, I'm trying to think of other things. The Whitney stuff, but Clark always being the guy going to talk to Whitney, that's always
That was
ridiculous.
interesting. Yeah, when they pointed that, I didn't even put two and two together on that one.
But it does make sense when you do it too, because Clark arranged for the whole Whitney playing in front of his father for the
That
Sharks as
was
in
awesome.
practice. That was
Yeah.
nice. I like seeing that as well. Uh, I don't think there's much else about this episode, Joe.
It was weird. I mean,
Good.
this is worst case is a filler to
Oh,
get.
this is the definition of a filler in my
Well, yes,
opinion.
but
Like, it doesn't do
to
anything
the
with
ending.
any
Like,
plots. Yeah.
you know what I remember what the finale is. I remember what's going to happen there. It's just like, hey, they're working on that now. We need just thing here.
Yeah. And there's
get
5
there.
episodes left.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that was our retro recap for Smallville. Reaper, it was okay. It definitely would not be one that we'd recommend if we're telling you to check out Smallville for the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh, okay, Joe. That pretty much
What?
ends our night, I think.
Well, we got one more question from all in the game real quick if you want to do this.
Yep.
Worst case scenario, what happens if more than 2 flop critically and financially?
Nothing.
Worst
I don't
case,
think, because there's a new DCU. They will probably lean further away from the DCEU if that's the case. But I don't see that affecting anything for the DC, for the Gunn and Safran guys going forward. I think their project is going to stay the same. Their 4-year vision is going to stay the same.
as much positive buzz that Gunn and Saffron have behind them right now. Uh, yeah, I agree. It's suck, sure, but it's not going to be. It's not going to change the plans they have right now.
Agreed. Thankfully,
No,
that's something that we could never really say with confidence before. So
God no.
no. So thanks everyone in the chat on the game, Durfee, S Bubs, World's
Yep,
Biggest Geek. It was a great episode, Joe. This was fun. I'll see you next week.
yep. Have a good
See
one.
you all.
Bye, guys.